Yes, everybody. Russ, the West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well. Happy Friday, my peeps. Happy Friday. Another week gone, and obviously another week left of this season to get out of the way. Let's be honest. We had our lunchtime live show at lunchtime, obviously, talking about everything that's happened in the last week or so. As we look ahead to the Brighton game tomorrow. But actually, if you're not going to the Brighton game and you want to live fix under 21s tomorrow midday, they're playing Sunderland under 21s at Rush Green as the first round, or no, final six, the last round of the 16 of the Premier League 2 playoffs. So go and check out the boys. I think it's £5 for adult, £1 for kids, free if you have a season ticket, I believe. Anyway, it is, more importantly, Hammer's Headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. Don't forget to check them out in the description below for latest news, reviews, and opiniones. We're going to talk about 3 stories and 2 defensive and 1 just about money, as the thumbnail would assume. So let's talk about defenders. Holly did a great show the other day talking about some of the players, sort of keep, loan, sell, and looking just at the defence, and clearly that's an area we need to look at. And we, over the last week or so, and even more so as we come into the last few weeks of the transfer window of the summer, going into the summer transfer window. Get your words out, bud, for fuck's sake. We're going to be linked to even more, and even so, we might actually start the list earlier because of that, because we literally are starting. Transfer window opens on the 1st of June, so maybe that last sort of couple of weeks we start adding to my my summer transfer rumours list. But according to reports, West Ham are back in for the AC Milan English international defender Tomori. Now, Spurs went in for him, I think, in the January transfer window. I think we were heavy linked with him in the summer last year. And to be fair, this sort of the second half of the season, Tomori hasn't really had much game time. I think he's only played like 5 or 6 Serie A games since like February. They obviously got had a new head coach for the last sort of period in Sergio Conceição, who's doing very well there. And he, in essence, changed the formation, really, which sort of brought about more game time recently, but it's mainly as a function of we couldn't get anyone else in, really, for the 27-year-old. So there are a lot of doubts around his long-term future at Milan, and obviously a desire to be in front of Thomas Tuchel and get back into the England squad as well, consistently. And according to reports coming out of Milan, AC are looking at the position. AC Milan are looking at the position of Firmino. Sorry, Firmino, wrong person. Tomori. In terms of the summer, and maybe looking to move him out, and obviously Premier League would be a natural destination for him. West Ham and Spurs both keen to have an interest in him. So I think, personally, if we're keeping the likes of JCT, so if Todibo's staying, yes, I can see the benefit. Tomori would be great alongside him, Kilman, but I think we could get a younger model. I think we could spend a bit better, in my humble opinion. And one of those people could be this gentleman, CJ. Now, what's quite interesting about CJ and other sort of players around that sort of Leeds, Burnley promotion sides is West Ham have an interest in a number of them, according to ex-WHU employee. CJ, Brownhill as well, particularly, as well as another couple of guys from the Burnley side. But as I said, according to reports, West Ham are set to step up our pursuit of the Burnley defender, CJ Riley. Now, former Man City youth prospect, he could be moving to West Ham. This is why I can see this happening on a free transfer as his contract comes to an end this season. Now, Burnley's promotion has caused a little bit of disruption in that. the Hammers are trying to persuade the player to sign with us in the summer. But Burnley obviously desperate to keep him. He was a key role it's for Burnley's, for Scott Parker's side, who conceded just 15 goals in 44 championship matches. He made 39 appearances this season already. And arguably he's ready for that step up. And we know reports a while ago that we were potentially looking at championship players, seeing sort of how well someone like Bowen progressed. I think we would have seen better from Somerville if he hadn't got injured. I think we'd have seen Somerville in that starting 11 on a almost permanent basis as well if he wasn't injured. The good thing about CJ is he can play right back as well as centre half, so he's got that cover. I know we've been linked with the likes of Kyle Walker-Peters as well, but he's 22 as this guy as well, so he's got the age. And I think with the uncertainty over someone like Mavropanos and potentially Jean-Claire maybe, but I think Mavropanos particularly, I think if you're playing three at the back, someone like CJ coming in would make, he's quick, he's strong, he's as strong as an ox. The guy's built. He's a complete unit. For a free transfer, it would be an absolute no-brainer. And being a free would allow more leeway with us to move for players perhaps to complement him in defence, but mainly in terms of midfield and the attacking options. And actually, speaking of that, we have been linked to another players from Leeds as well. And ex-WHU employee mentioned that West Ham have been keeping an eye on Ethan Pamperdou, former Chelsea centre-half, the young lad, the Welsh international. Been looking at him. He's been captain for Leeds, obviously gone up this season as well. And their forward, Matteo Joseph, as well. He's been leading the line pretty much all season. And apparently, they've had good reports about Ethan's attitude and impact on the dressing room. And also he can play midfield as well. He can play CDM. So again, that sort of ability to have that dual role. I think it's less likely we'd get the Leeds boys, but CJ particularly at the end of the, contract seems definitely one we should be pursuing in my eyes. We've also been looking at Josh Brownhill as well, who's also coming to the end of his contract as well at Burnley, which could complement midfield really, as add another body in that midfield potentially, a bit more energy. But I'd really fancy CJ to come in. I think he's a really good player. And in terms of money, obviously we finish the season, and then we pretty much start straight away in terms of transfers. But the part of the pre-season is a trip to the US in the Premier League Summit Series, and according to reports, West Ham could earn up to 8 million squid as taking part in the tournament. We'll be obviously out there with Man United, Everton, and Bournemouth. We play Man United in the MetLife Centre. An amazing arena. I've been there. It's huge. On the 26th, take on Everton in Chicago. Been to that stadium as well. That's phenomenal. On the 30th of July. And then we play Atlanta in their Atlanta United Stadium, which is an incredible stadium. I've never been there, but incredible. I've been to Atlanta, but not to the stadium. And that's on the 3rd of August. 8 million quid will definitely help the coffers, particularly from a PCR perspective in terms of income. I don't know where that would fall. For me, that would fall next year's PCR in terms of next summer, but I don't know. I'm not that way inclined in terms of when the reporting of income comes in. But 8 million quid is 8 million quid. You can't sniff your nose at that. And if that means that we can potentially spend more because we know we've got that in the back pocket, we'll wait and see. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for your time. Thanks very much for me warbling on, talking about how much I want Egan Riley at West Ham. But anyway, until next time, take care, everyone. Stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, and I'll see you tomorrow. Much love. Bye.